My name is Juan Diaz. I'm part of the Mimic development team for FIU Spring 2019. Product owners for the project are Mark Finlayson, Labiba Jahan, and Victor Yarlot. The mentor of the project is Dr. Masood Sajjadi. This is a presentation of UserStory83 and UserStory93. As an admin, I would like to know which users logged in and from what machine. The requirements are that the users table, already presented on the admin dashboard, is now added with a few columns. A column showing if a user is logged in, and a column showing from which IP the user is logged in. This implementation relates to another UserStory93. As a student, I would like to see which user and what machine is already logged in. The difference from UserStory83 is that this information is presented to a user who's trying to log in with the same credentials for a user that's already logged in. The information is the same, it's just a matter of the presentation, which will be shown on the following demo. This is the demo of the user story. First we log in with the admin to see if any users are active. The only user active at the time is admin. Okay, let's try logging in with another user. We know that user 2 has an account, so we try logging in. User 2 is taking 2 activities. Let's check the admin panel. User 2 shows as logged in. Let us try again logging in with user 2. As we notice, the admin panel shows that the user is active and what machine they're on. Because we're logging in from the same machine, the IP of the local host translates to this. This is user 2. Let's see what happens if another person or another student tries to log in with the same user ID. We're presented with information that the user is already logged in and what IP they're logged in. This is the same information that the admin is presented with. This concludes the demo of UserStory83 and the related UserStory93. This is the activity diagram of the use case. The admin is shown a users list from when they log in the dashboard. This users list calls the user's controller, which is in the back end, which is in charge of retrieving a list of users, logged in or not logged in, everyone. This controller is basically reading from the database. The database will return a result. The user controller returns the result, and then the users list is set to refresh every 5 seconds. So the admin will be presented with a list of users. The student is similar, except the student sees this information when they go to the session controller. So to begin, the student passes a username and password to the login button. The login button calls in the session controller. Now in this case, because there's already a user logged in, the session controller will not create a token for authentication. Instead, it will return a string with the information of where the user, who is the user that's already logged in, and where the user is already logged in. Then the login button will present this. The session controller will pass this to the login button, and this will be presented to the user on the login page. The use case is very simple. Basically, there's just a use case for the admin. View users logged in. The information is fetched from the same place. And this concludes the activity diagram and use case presentation. This is the code review of UserStory83 and 93. First, we begin by updating the user stories database table. We add 2 fields, the active field which has a 1 for a user that's logged in, and the host field that keeps the IP from which the user logged in. This information is not retrieved whenever a user logs in. The first thing we do is from the request, we try to get the IP. If for whatever reason we can't get the IP, we set the local host name to enable get machine name. After that, we should have the IP, or we should have unable to get machine name. From that point on, we try to log in the user. If the user is logged in because they have a status bit set to 1, then we'll return this error. And as we saw in the presentation, the user trying to log in is shown an error that they've already logged in. If this is not the case, then we proceed and we go ahead and set the database for that given user. We set up the field, the active bit as 1 for that username, and we set the host name. We set the host name for that user as well. So that will keep the database updated with the needed information. Then the following code is simply what was already existing. It creates a token and returns a token. As far as the admin panel, this is where the admin is presented what users are logged in and what their IPs are. This did not require any modification really, because the usernames and passwords were already being retrieved with this method. So really it didn't require any modification. What we did do is update the HTML code. Now every user that's returned has some extra fields. So it has a host field and an active bit field. This is where we're checking. If the active bit is set to 1, then go ahead and display. This is HTML code for a checkbox. If it's not set to active 1, then simply keep the checkbox, but don't show. Keep the column, but don't show anything. Really, when the user is trying to authenticate, a Java class is filled in, and this is basically what we did. We added 2 extra fields to that Java class, and then methods to get that information as well. This completes the code review of the user story 83 and 93. This brings an end to the presentation. Thank you for watching. My name is Juan Diaz, and you may reach me at jds457@fiu.edu. Once again, the mentor for this project was Dr. Masood Sajjadi, and the product owners are Mark Finlayson, Labiba Jahan, and Victor Yarlott. Thank you for watching.